Thank you for being here. Welcome back to another one of our webinars presented to you by our Alpha Sales System. Thank you so much for being here. It's a total pleasure to have you. As I always say in all of our webinars, what you're doing this morning, carving some time out of your morning to dedicate to honing your skills, sharpening up your tools, and perfecting your craft. You're doing something that 99.9999999% of salespeople in the world aren't doing. Our last webinar was a massive success. We've had more dealer representation, more managers and salespeople from more dealerships than the webinar before and the webinar before that. So we're really building our community. I'm super excited to continue our journey together. Little housekeeping. I dropped my email in the chat. Any questions, guys, drop them in the chat or email me personally anytime that you want. I'm always available for you. Any questions, any sales training tips, anything you're faced with day in and day out, you shoot me an email. I'll answer it for you. I'm here for you anytime. Charles, if you could drop the link in the chat, guys, I'm giving away 5 free sales training sessions. Last week, I dropped the link. They filled up by the end of the webinar. 5 free one-on-one sales training sessions. We can do them on Zoom. We can do them at your convenience. We'll schedule it together. We'll hop on and we'll game plan a little bit. It'll be great. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Charles is going to drop that. Feel free to fill that out. And I'd love to hop on one-on-one with you. And at the end, we're going to go over an exclusive offer for something that we're working on our end to bring to you that I'm super excited about. So stay tuned till the end so we can go over that offer with you. On today's agenda, we're going to cover 3 different topics that I find to be super important. The first one is the science and studies behind too many options. When we give our consumers too many options, the science behind that and some case studies that really support how that can work against us as salespeople. We're going to talk about the most skipped step in holding gross profit, the most skipped step in holding gross profit in today's market. And we're going to talk about tips for holding more gross profit as things are getting tougher on our end, as we're kind of coming down off the highs of peak pandemic car business. We're back in the real car business now. This is the real car business. And if you're new to the game, it's going to get tougher, but that doesn't mean we don't have answers to all the problems that we're trying to solve. All of the answers lie in continuous training and education, and we have all of them. We just got to dedicate ourselves. Let's talk about information overload, analysis paralysis, right? Information overload. When we give our customers too many options, what happens? Now, we may think, hey, listen, I'm going to show them all of the different options we have for them here at the dealership, all of the new, all of the pre-owned vehicles, and they're going to have it's going to be a buffet for them. But what happens is too many options cause our customers to shut down. There's a saying, if you're a football fan, and the saying goes that if a team has 2 quarterbacks, it really has none because it doesn't have a quarterback. It's got 2. If they're going between 2 quarterbacks, a team that has 2 quarterbacks really has none. And a customer that's on 2 different cars is really on none, right? So a customer that's going between 2 different cars is really not landed on any. And we have to avoid that at all costs. So how do we do that, right? How do we do that? We focus on helping them land on a vehicle. We have to guide them towards a vehicle and ideally the vehicle that we want to sell them. But first and foremost, we want to focus on pain points, things that the customer is currently feeling with their current vehicle. Maybe it's too small and they can't fit their family. Maybe it's too big and they can't park it in their neighborhood. Maybe they need a darker interior because they have kids. Maybe they don't have backup camera and it's really a struggle parallel parking in a city. Maybe it's not getting good enough gas because they travel to and from work very far. Maybe there's a little clicking noise that they just can't seem to figure out what the problem is. Maybe the check engine light, all of these pain points, that's what you want to focus on. You want to shed their current vehicle in a negative light to detach ownership from it and create a sense of urgency to solve those problems and that you're there to help them solve them. And you want to focus on hot buttons. You want to focus on all the things that they need to have in their next vehicle that they currently don't. And you have to paint that picture that, hey, regardless of the numbers, if you leave here today in the same vehicle you came in, you're going to leave sad. And if you leave in a new one, you're going to leave happy. Focus on the hot buttons, right? Focus on the hot buttons and all of the features or the new vehicle that can solve their current problems. One quick little word track. I always ask the customer that, hey, if they're going between 2 different cars, hey, if they were both priced the same, which one would you pick? If they were both priced the same, right? This helps tighten the box a little bit and really narrow down on the vehicle that they truly want. If they were both priced the same, which one would you pick? Now, if there's an $80,000 vehicle and a $30,000 vehicle, obviously, if they're both priced the same, they pick the $80,000 car. So you want to make sure that you're within striking distance, price point wise, of both. But that's a great way to really get them to throw price out the window, because they're probably crunching numbers in their head. Or this one's 43, this one's 40. I got an approval from Capital One for 40. I remember the payment was this, but that was 3 months. If they were both priced the same, which one would you choose? You can go into the Ben Franklin close, guys. The Ben Franklin close is the pro and con close. So Ben Franklin, whenever making a decision, used to do something where he would write all of the pros of making one decision and all of the cons. And then he would have the other decision that he was faced with, and he'd write all of the pros and all of the cons. And then I like to add my own little twist. I like to add a point system. So let's say I'm looking at car A. I would go with the customer, and we would go together and write down all of the pros of that car. Then we write all of the cons. All of the pros, I give a +1. All of the cons, a -1. And at the end, I put a score on car A. Then I go car B. All of the pros, +1, +1, +1. All of the cons, -1, -1, -1. And at the end, I give car B a score. Whichever vehicle has the highest score, let's pick that one. So that's a great little close you can do with your customer to really help them in coming to make a decision. But you got to help them do that because they got a lot going on in their mind. They're stressed. There's emotions involved. There's a lot going on in the mind of the customer, and you got to be able to keep them calm as their trusted advisor. Give you a little case study that actually supports the information overload. It's called the Stanford Jam Experiment. The Stanford Jam Experiment, back in the year 2000, a bunch of students from Stanford University went to a supermarket and they set up a table. And on that table, they put 24 different jars of jams and jellies. And what they did was they offered a $1 coupon to anyone that would come up to the table and taste test the jams. So the selection of 24 jams, that big table of all the jams, they actually drew a larger audience, but only 3% of the audience actually converted into a sale, right? So all of the options, but only 3% converted into a sale. They did the same experiment, but with 6 jams, only 6 jams. So they narrowed down the selections, only 6 jams, smaller audience, but 31% of the audience went on to buy a jam. So it just shows that more options doesn't equal more sales. It usually equals less sales. The information overload. Like, listen, I think we've all been there. Did you ever go into the mall, right? You walk into the mall and you're looking for a couple things, but it's just, there's like so many stores. It's so overwhelming. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to finish. And then before you know it, you grab a Starbucks, you end up leaving with nothing, right? It happens to me all the time. I make the lap and I just go, you know what? It's too much. Let me get out of here, right? So more options does not equal more sales. You have to narrow down the selections for your customers. And I love using the closes that we talked about beforehand. The Ben Franklin close really helps. So narrow down the choices, help your customer select the vehicle, and you can use the word track. If the prices were the same, which one would you choose? Give you another one. So this isn't just hocus pocus stuff, guys. This is actually a fundamental law of psychology. It's called Hicks's Law. Hick's Law, which was founded and coined by the psychologist, the experimental psychologist, William Edmund Hick. He came up with this phenomenon that more options that someone has, the more options that someone has, the longer it will take them to make a decision. The longer it will take them to make a decision. Little typo on the slide there, but more options equals longer time to make a decision, more to choose from, information overload, paralysis by analysis. Your customer's going to freeze up and shut down. So do yourself that favor. Don't show them too many vehicles on the lot. If they come in on a specific car, pull that vehicle up for them, take them right to that vehicle, prevent them from getting frozen by the paralysis by analysis. One more example of Hick's Law, guy, Columbia University, their researchers did a study. What they did was they offered savings plan options to 750,000 Vanguard investment clients. So 250,000 clients under the Vanguard umbrella that invested with Vanguard. They offered them different savings plans options. They offered some people 5 different savings plans. The people that were offered 5, 70% of them chose a savings plan and invested their money. Certain people, they offered 15 different plans. The people that were offered 15 plans, only 68% of them actually invested. The people offered 35 plans, the numbers dropped to 63%. So just another stat The more options you give somebody, the less inclined they are to make a buying decision. All right, the most skipped step in holding gross profit. The most skipped step in holding gross profit. I told Big Mike I would go over this today. Shout out to Big Mike. Shout out to Big Mike. We're talking about trade walks. We're talking about trade walks in today's market. A trade walk is not giving the used car manager the key and saying, hey, I got a trade pulled up over there. A trade walk is not you walking around the trade just to get the VIN and the miles. A trade walk is you walking around that trade, a silent trade walk, a silent appraisal with your customer. And this right here, guys, is the most important thing we could be doing in today's market. It's getting tougher and tougher to make gross profit. You and I both know the markup in these cars. It's nothing. So where are we going to get it from? Where are we going to get it from? Where are you going to get it from if you get paid on the front end? You're going to get paid on holding back on the trade-in. Guys, it makes it almost impossible to defend your ACV, whatever you're allowing on the trade. It makes it impossible to defend in the heat of the negotiation if you didn't walk the trade with the customer, because the customer can look you in the eyes and BS you that their trade's pretty much out of the wrapper. It's brand spanking new, right? The same thing you could do. Imagine you were over the phone selling a car to someone and they never saw it. You could make this car sound like a Lamborghini. It could be a 2013 Toyota Camry, but after you're done using your salesmanship and your enthusiasm, right, the courage of your convictions, if they don't see it, you can make it sound like a $4 million car. Your customer's really doing the same thing when they're negotiating with you. But if you walk the trade with them, in their mind, they're saying to themselves, uh-oh, he saw the imperfection. We see them, see us, see the imperfections. We see the ding, we see the dent, we see the bald tires, we see the check engine light on, we see the rip in the leather, we smell the smoke inside. And in their mind, psychologically, they're devaluing it. They're saying to themselves, you know what? Shit, man, I really wanted 20 for it, but if I can get 18, I think that would be all right. That's $2,000 right in your pocket. $2,000 right in your pocket. If you get paid off commission, what would $2 more grand on each and every one of your deals do for you? What would it do for you at the end of the month? What would it do for you at the end of the year? You got to walk your trades. It takes 2 minutes. You got to do it. If you're not doing it, I'm going to be honest, you're just being lazy. I mean, there's no, sometimes you're being lazy. If nobody told you that, I'm just telling you the truth. You got to do it. It's costing you money. 100% of you should be demoing the new car, right? You're demoing the new car. You should be. So 100% of you should be doing trade walks. You got to do it. I've seen so many over the last month not being done. You have to do it, guys. You're taking money out of your own pocket. You got to defend the gross. And it starts with holding back on the trade. We're not making money over sticker. Like, listen, some cars we are, but it's not like it was peak pandemic. We got to make up for it by holding back on the trade. Shout out to Big Mike for bringing this to light. And it starts on the lot. It starts on the lot. Holding gross profit starts on the lot. See, we make the gross on the lot. We just justify it inside, right? We don't make it inside. We justify it inside. The value is built on the lot, right? Warren Buffett says, price is what you pay, value is what you get, right? The value is what they're getting on the lot. The price is what they're paying inside. We got to be on the right car. You got to save your customer from themselves. We got to focus on everything they need in a vehicle, not everything they want, everything they need in a vehicle, not everything they want. Focus on their needs. Get better at lot switching, guys. Get better at lot switching. So imagine you made a car deal, right? And it was a mini deal. Customer came in on a pre-owned vehicle. They came in on 2021, grinding back and forth, ends up being a mini deal. Now imagine if you would have switched them from the 2021 to the 2020 on the lot. That was $3,000 less, and you were still able to get to the same payment, but instead you held $3,000 in gross profit. Has that ever happened to you? Think about it. Your last mini deal on a used car, did you offer a switch on the lot, or did you go straight to that vehicle and not try to switch them? See, doing the switch after you start negotiating, that's like a last resort for me, because the value is built in the vehicle. If you do the switch after you've already presented numbers, in the psyche of the customer, it's like, oh, well, Anthony doesn't want to work with me. Anthony's trying to sell me a car other than the one I want. But really, they only want it because I tried to sell it to them in the first place. Do your switch on the lot, right? If you try to do it after you began negotiating and presenting numbers, chances are your customer's going to time out and they're going to say, you know what, let me go home and regroup because now we got to think about this. So save them from themselves and don't mismanage their expectations, guys. When qualifying your customer, see, different dealerships do it different ways. Some dealerships go directly to a guest sheet or a worksheet or an upsheet and qualify the customer depending on, their store's processes. Some go right to the lot. Some have a check-in process. Depending on your store's process, no matter what, though, you don't want to mismanage your expectations, and you don't want to talk numbers on the lot. But quite simply, if you're walking the lot with a customer and they're driving a Honda Accord that they got 3 years ago, and price point wise kind of where it's at, and now they want to look at a Grand Wagoneer, and they're saying to you, hey, listen, last time put $2,000 down, they made it nice and easy, I got to my payment, I'm doing the same thing today. You can say, listen, I don't know what the numbers are. That's not my job, right? My job is to find the perfect vehicle for you. And then we get the numbers worked up inside. That's the easy part. We've never lost a deal over price or payment. But what I do know is, especially if they go, what would the payments be on this car? Well, I can get that worked up for you inside. That's the easy part. The hardest part's basically picking out our favorite color. But I do know that more expensive vehicles usually warrant more expensive payments, right? More expensive vehicles usually warrant more expensive payments. So looking at a vehicle 3 times the cost of your current vehicle would warrant a payment obviously going up if you're comfortable with that. Like, don't mismanage their expectations, and don't be afraid to shoot them straight. You'd much rather shoot them straight than mismanage their expectations and then they blow out of the dealership. But depending on your store, this should be done. If you do a check-in process, this should be done at the check-in desk. If you're qualifying them on a guest sheet or an up sheet or a worksheet prior to hitting the lot, this should be done then. You should nip this in the bud. You shouldn't be coming back to them with the pencil and them saying, well, I really thought I'd be at the same payment. In today's day and age, it doesn't work that way. Now, if you're a store that you peel them off the ceiling, great. I was brought up that way. I believe that we have to satisfy our customers' need to negotiate anyway. No matter what number we give them, we got to satisfy their need to negotiate. They want to do it. They want to do it for sport. They want to do it for a number of reasons, but they want to feel as if they played a part in making the deal happen. But you don't want to be so far away that they shut down and end up blowing out of the store. So don't mismanage their expectations. Switch on the lot. If they're coming in on the Mac Daddy, if they're coming in on the fully loaded trim level, you want to switch them you always want to switch to a trim level lower, no matter what. Always a trim level lower. I always try to go to a model lower if possible, but trim level lower 100%, because chances are it's more than what they have in their current vehicle anyway, especially if their vehicle's a little bit older. You want to get a head start on the guest sheet, guys. You want to get a head start on the guest sheet. Shout out to Dino. The money's got to come from somewhere. The money's got to come from somewhere. So money down, right? Cash down is king. The money's got to come from somewhere. If their payment's going to go down, it's going to come from either one of 2 places. It's going to come from us or them. I want it to come from them. Use their money to lower the payment. You got to get the head start on the guest sheet, because if you get no money down from them when you're doing your guest sheet and you present a pencil with 0 money down, you're only going to move that customer so far. So you want to get a head start with at least tax and tags plus some down payment, so that when you do move them, you're moving even further. So get a head start on the guest sheet. Really fight for that money down. On the guest sheet is a great time to plant seeds of a lease if they wanted to finance, right? You don't want to get combative, but you want to fight a little bit, and you want to fight in such a way where you say, hey, listen, we do have really aggressive lease programs as well. How about I show you both, and you can pick whatever works best for you. They may say yes, they may say no. If they say no, you say, not a problem. The computer's going to print it out automatically anyway, and you always have the right to change your mind. You really want to fight for it then. Just like switching cars, if you're grinding a deal and you're on a finance, and then you try to circle and kind of pitch the lease, they may feel as if they're now settling for the second best option. Even though they were the ones that said no to the lease in the first place, you got to save them from themselves. Save them from themselves in terms of landing on term as well. If they're adamant about only wanting to go 72 months, and you know that you got to probably go 84 or even 96 to get close to the payment. Let's say they're financing for 72 months right now, and they're trading out of their car after 36 months. You could say to them, hey, totally get it that you'd rather go to 72, but to be honest with you, the reason why you're trading out of your car after 3 years is the exact reason why you should go the 84, because really, all that you've really done over the last 3 years by going 72 months as opposed to 84 was paid more per month than you had to over the last 3 years. And then what you could do is you could take the difference in payment between 72 and 84 when you present the pencil, and you can really lock in this close by showing that difference. Maybe it's difference of $100, whatever, maybe $80, multiply that by 36 months and say, hey, listen, you put out of pocket this much money over the last 36 months, more than you had to by going 72 instead of 84 months. So you want to get a head start on the guest sheet. Your customer is only going to be willing to compromise so much on that visit with you. Now, if they leave, unfortunately, which we don't want, we're a today business, but if they leave and come back, chances are you'll move them a little more, but there's a good chance you'll never see them again. We're a today business. We close today. Use the guest sheet to get a head start, because the psychology behind it is it's a data intake. Their wall is not as high as it's about to be in a few minutes when you present the pencil. Once the pencil comes out on that desk, their wall's totally up. Now the gloves are off and they're ready to fight. So you got to prevent that from happening with getting no head start. Get a head start on the guest sheet. You got to present numbers with confidence, guys. You got to present numbers with confidence. Take away that sense of guilt. We talk about it all the time. You shouldn't have a sense of guilt. You don't make the numbers. Your customer makes the numbers. Well, and how do they make the numbers? Well, they picked out the vehicle that they're in the market for right now. They picked out their trade-in last time. They chose how much they wanted to finance last time. Essentially, they chose the interest rate. Now, I know they don't set the rates, but they chose their credit score based on the way they pay their current bills. They chose how much money they're looking to put down this time. They chose whether or not they want to lease or finance. So they have more say in the numbers. I mean, they control the numbers. Essentially, we're just presenting them. So remove that sense of guilt. You didn't make the numbers. Don't feel guilty when presenting the numbers. Your job is to find the perfect vehicle for them. We talked about the analogy before. Let's say you're a realtor and your friend's looking for a home. You find a perfect home for them. It's got everything that they need: 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, finished basement, the neighborhood they want, and a pool. And then when they ask for the mortgage payment, they're like, "Oh man, that's a little higher than I wanted to pay." You're not going to feel guilty. That's not your department. Your job was to find them the house. As a realtor, your job as a salesperson is to find them a car. Make the numbers make sense, guys. Make the numbers make sense, though. If they're paying $450 a month right now, let's say they know the trade-in value that we're offering them and they're okay with it, and they're paying $450 a month and their vehicle is only worth $10,000. Now they're looking at a $40,000 vehicle and the payment's going up to, $900 a month. Well, you're going to say, listen, your payment's going up 2 times, but you're going up 4 times in car value. Make it make sense in terms of bang for the buck. Also compare their last situation, how much money they put down, and the reason why they're at their current payment, versus this time, if they're choosing to put less down and why the payment's higher, maybe looking at a more expensive vehicle. Make the numbers make sense. Don't overcomplicate it for yourself if you just got started. But as you continue to go through your sales career, it'll start to come to you second nature to point out different parts of the deal structure that'll highlight why the numbers are the way they are and justifying it. Make it make sense to them. Small incremental bumps, guys. Small incremental bumps. Get your head start on the guest sheet. Then bump a little more. Maybe it's $100 per month. Maybe it's $70 per month. Then maybe you bump them for term. Then maybe you circle back at another $500 down. Then maybe you bump them in payment. Small incremental bumps so that they don't feel it. It's almost like, it's the frog in the boiling water, right? So like if you throw a frog in a pot of boiling water, it's going to jump right out. It's going to jump right out. But if you put a frog in a pot of water and slowly turn up the heat incrementally, eventually you'll kill the frog. It doesn't feel that it's happening, right? So you don't want to blow them out of the pot. Small incremental bumps. Have faith that it's going to work out. A lot of times we say to ourselves, this isn't going to be worth it, and we throw in the towel. Speaking of throwing in the towel, you don't want to tap out too quickly, guys. You don't want to tap out too quickly. The laws of reciprocity, right? Their need to give back to you because you've given to them, that's baked into the relationship between you and the customer. Yes, a manager can come over and validate what you said, and there's power in the TO. It really works from a psychological standpoint, but the reciprocity is built between you and the customer. They're going to feel more inclined to tip you more. That's what they're doing. They're tipping you by paying more because you were the server, right? Because you were the server. So give them a great experience. Don't throw in the towel. Don't give up on yourself. If they're there, you're winning. Try to stay seated and try to grind as long as you possibly can. I always say, doggy paddle as much as you can, but if you feel yourself drowning, jump out of the pool, right? Jump out of the pool. Well, how do you know when you're drowning? You know when you're drowning. You know when you're drowning because you start to talk in circles and what you're saying starts to compromise your validity, integrity. At that point, jump out and grab a manager, or at least go back to the desk and regroup. You don't have to grab the manager. You can go and regroup. Know this, guys. We offer them our first pencil. They also offer us their first pencil. Just raise your hand if you had a customer that came in saying they wanted to pay $400 a month and they left paying $800 or $700 or $600. We've all had it. It's happened to all of us. It's probably happened to you this week. That's their first pencil to you. Don't get discouraged by that. The same way we offer them a first pencil, they're giving us a first pencil. And there's no rule that says that they can't bend too. It doesn't always have to be us that has to bend and break. They can do it. They're the ones in search of a product. We're defending the numbers, but they're the ones that came there for a reason. They want to leave with a brand new car so they can bend if they really want it. They'll really want it if you build enough value in the vehicle on the lot, because that's where the gross profit is made. We just justify it inside. I'll go over a tip with you that I had asked my dad for before. I was doing a sales training session in a dealership, and I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I'm doing a training today on holding gross profit. And I said, my dad's, that's his forte. And I said, Dad, what's your number one tip for holding gross profit? What's your number one tip for holding gross profit? He quite simply just said to me, you just got to ask for it. Sometimes you just got to ask for it. Don't psych yourself out. Don't psych yourself out. Shout out to Eddie Krause, my general sales manager when I was at Woodbury Nissan, general manager of Woodbury Nissan and Mount Holly Nissan. He helped instill confidence in me as well when presenting that pencil. Eddie was going to send me in there, and he was going to make sure I was fearless and going to defend the gross, and he really helped me out. So shout out to Eddie for that as I was coming up as a salesperson. And I always say, in business and in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. In business and in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. We got to negotiate harder. We got to negotiate smarter. We got to sharpen our tools, and we got to add more into the toolbox. And we're going to continue to do that. But it all starts right now with defending the gross profit, guys. We got to make as much money as we possibly can on every deal that we do. And we got to work harder. We got to dig our heels in. It starts on the lot, switching to the right vehicle, switching to less vehicle if need be, managing their expectations, being honest with them. We're in the era of transparency. They want us to be transparent with them. Be transparent. Don't mismanage their expectations. Be on the right car. Get a head start on that guest sheet by really grinding to get that money down, by really explaining how going a special term, I don't say extended term, I think extended has a negative connotation. Special term of 84 or 96 months is actually in their best interest, because the only thing that matters is the monthly payment anyway. By really fighting for that lease, if that's the direction you're trying to go, by small incremental bumps, exercise I did with my salespeople this week. I said to them, imagine if you just got $1,000 more down from every customer that you sold a car to, $1,000 more, and you get paid on gross. What would $1,000 on every single deal do for you? Let's say you get paid 20%, 25, 30%, $1,000 more on every deal that you sold over the course of this year. Or imagine you got $1 per day more in monthly payment from every customer, $30 a month, $1 per day. Do that times 72, 75, 84 months, times the number of cars you sell per month, times 12 months in the year. How much more money would that be for you? What can you do with that money, right? Small little bits. And guys, you just got to ask for it. Sometimes in life, anything and everything we want is just on the other side of asking. You guys are worthy. You're deserving of it. You're putting in the time. If you're on here, you're deserving of it. You're worthy of it. And sometimes you just got to ask for it. All right, guys, we crammed in a lot. I don't want to go too long for you. I want to get you back out there selling cars, but I'm super grateful for you being here. Once again, you're doing the things that only the top 1%ers do. So I'm super grateful. And I commend you for your commitment to mastery, to honing your skills, to making yourself a top 1% salesperson. And this is just the beginning of our journey together. We got another free webinar coming up on the 29th. Keep an eye out. I send you guys emails with training tips. Keep an eye out for them. I send them out in the mornings, pretty much every day. Some cool word tracks, some different training tips, some different statistics. Keep an eye out for those. Keep an eye out on social media as well. Every day we're uploading videos on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So keep an eye out for that as well. We do have a launch coming early fall. We're going to be launching some more formal training with your dealerships, where we're really going to be able to sit here and have some live interaction in a Zoom type format. We're going to have question and answer. We're going to have role play. It's really going to be cool. And it's going to be a little bit more, much more in depth than these are, because I'll sit here all day with you. This is what I do. I love this. I live for this. I'll sit here. If it's 100 of us, 200 of us, someday there's going to be thousands of us, or if there's just one of us, this is what we do. And we're going to be launching our sales university. This is going to be the holy grail. It's going to be a comprehensive, complete sales university for any person looking to get better at selling cars, no matter your experience, whether you're the crafty vet or you're the green pea, both of us, whether we're veterans or rookies, we got to really, dedicate ourselves to continuous education, because the market's constantly changing and everyone else is constantly trying to get better. We got to be ahead of the pack. We're going to be launching our sales university. It's going to be great. And we're definitely going to have some early bird opportunities. I don't forget where I came from. We don't forget where we come from. All of you that are on here are going to have some early bird opportunities. So let's hop on a call. If you're a dealer, let's sit down, let's strategize and come up with a custom training plan for your dealership that'll maximize all of your efforts in the store. Q&A, guys. Drop some questions in the chat. Email me anytime. If you have my cell, obviously, you know I'm on 24/7. Reach out. I'll answer all of your questions. I'm always here to serve you. And please give us your feedback. You're going to get an email shortly, guys. Just fill out the form if you don't mind. Just a couple questions about the webinars, what you like about them, what you don't like about them, what you'd like to see more of. I really value your feedback, and that really gives me, an idea of what I need to do to maximize your experience with me. I'll see you again on the 29th, Friday the 29th at 10 a.m. Tell your friends, pass the link around, and thank you so much again for being here. I'm extremely humbled. I'm extremely grateful, and I don't know what else to say other than that. You guys are awesome, and thank you for being here and being a valued member of our Wolf Pack. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Sell the metal. Let's check out the chat. Oh, there's the job. Great strategy. Big Mike. Trade is perfect. Yeah, the trade's always perfect, Lou. It's always perfect. It's so perfect they want to trade out of it. That's what TikTok, right, exactly. Yeah, TikTok knows best. TikTok knows best. Make the customer feel like you're making the process easy, different than the next guy. 100%. 100%. We say it all the time. People aren't afraid to spend money. They're afraid to make a decision they're going to regret. And we play a huge part in that. It would just be like, it's almost like, settling down in a relationship. If the person checks all the boxes, you don't feel like you're making a decision that you're going to regret by settling down with that person. You're not saying to yourself, well, there may be somebody else out there that, no, they check the boxes. If you check the boxes as a salesperson, you're going to alleviate them from having to say, well, maybe there's another salesperson out there that's going to give me a better experience. The tricky part is that they're not even thinking that consciously. They're thinking that subconsciously. And that's what makes it tough, because we don't know what's going on up there in their head. They may not even realize it either. Dan, thank you, bro. Thank you. Free one-on-one session. Great. Thanks, Nam. Thanks, Pistol. Joe, sell the metal. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Brant, thank you. Matt, sell the sizzle. That's right. Sell the sizzle. Thank you, Rich. All right, guys, let's get back out there and sell some cars. I'm always here if you need me. The link is in there for free one-on-one sessions. Reach out to me with your feedback. You guys are awesome. I love all you guys. And thank you so much. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege. Peace.